Stones scores! On the half volley, John Stones.
And West Ham are punished. Chloe Kelly.
Kevin De Bruyne scores for Manchester City.
Mahrez. Gundogan.
Over to the left, Grealish. Alvarez! Goal! 1-1. Julian Alvarez does it again against Liverpool. The Etihad celebrates as City get back on terms. Just 10 minutes after Liverpool's opener. Manchester City 1, Liverpool 1.
Kelly in a position to cross. What a ball, what a header, Bunny Shaw. 1-0 Manchester City.
As Grealish comes forward in the left wing position, taking on Bednarek into the penalty area he goes, clips it on, Haaland! That is a stunning finish from Erling Haaland. And City have the 3 points, and Erling Haaland is 2/3 of the way to his first away hat-trick as a Manchester City player. Out wide it goes to Wright. Wright coming forward. The pass just eludes his target, Undala, but it's kept alive. Popped in by Muir. Oh my word, that is absolutely incredible from Nico O'Reilly. What a goal that is! It seemed impossible for him to turn that in.
Sent over to the back post, Haaland tries for a header, yet to have a touch in the opening 5 minutes. It's come to Stones, Stones goes for goal and Stones scores! On the half volley, John Stones powers the ball in, it was worth a go. And it results in the opening goal of the game under 5 minutes in.
See off Brighton in their last successful FA Cup semi-final. Now here comes Mahrez, darting towards the edge of the area. Oh, he's all the way through and scored! Well, I never. He must have run 60 metres. You have to give credit to Riyad Mahrez.
Oh, Sissoko's let that run. Took a right of the ball. And West Ham are punished. Chloe Kelly. Seizes upon that big error from Sissoko. Brilliant instinctive piece of play from Chloe Kelly.
Field to Haaland, Haaland brings it down. Here's Kevin De Bruyne, he's got Grealish to his left. Decides to go outside, might line up a shot of his own. Kevin De Bruyne scores for Manchester City. He had the option to set up Grealish. He didn't need him. Kevin De Bruyne has put Manchester City ahead against Arsenal. Just 6 minutes in.
Hi, I'm Bernardo Silva and you're watching Matchday Live.
Grealish pops in across. City have the ball in the box and there's a challenge and City have won a penalty.
So City have come back to the top of the Premier League, first time since February. Of course, Arsenal have been there for most of the season. Oh, never count us out.
Alvarez still on the ball near the edge of the D, hits a shot into the net!
We struggle a little bit, but we knew it. It's normal because we have a lot of games with 3 days, and it helps. Winning games helps to recover to be faster and quicker. So accept the challenge and come back to Manchester and Wednesday at 8 West Ham.
Erling Haaland steps up, puts it into the corner of the net. Was it in any doubt? Certainly not in my mind.
I don't think they travel up to Manchester expecting to win, but they're a dangerous side, especially at set pieces, as we saw when they played against Palace. It was 4-3, but they were dangerous on every set piece. So City have to be wary of that. But Man City, the Etihad, and I think with 50,000 people screaming, you tend to find the ability to do that. So hopefully it's a good game for City.
Welcome to Matchday Live. We are live at the Etihad Stadium for our midweek
fixture against West Ham United. As you just seen earlier in the show, there were some incredible goals scored in April, and let's hope May starts the same way here at the Etihad this evening. City will be looking to go top of the table with a win over relegation-threatened West Ham, and the Hammers have been good opposition for us recently, with City being unbeaten in the last 14 games. Let's hope that continues. And today is a very, very special day. We are celebrating our incredible charity, City in the Community. There's more to come later on the show on how you at home can be involved, and we also will have some special graphics throughout the show that will be designed by youngsters from the community. That man there at the back, our number 9, Mr. Erling Haaland, is on course to break another record here this evening. One more goal will take him to 35 Premier League goals, which will put him ahead of Alan Shearer and Andy Cole for the record of goals in one season. Welcome to Matchday Live. My name is FG, and well, what a lineup we've got. We are joined by the stat man himself, David James, our very own Esme Morgan, and the man who's just turned pundit as well, Nedum. Welcome, guys. How are you? How are you all? Excited for the fixture?
Fantastic. What an evening for a game of football.
I have actually been doing my research,
Wow.
David James.
Wow.
Believe it or not, Nedum.
Wow,
And I've
okay.
been having a look at the stat pack, and the last time West Ham kept a clean sheet was against at Manchester City, was in 2003.
Oh.
And you'll never guess who the keeper was that day. It was an
Yeah,
unbelievable performance, and we've got the footage for you guys.
Oh, let's
Let's talk us through. Nedum, I mean, look.
You see those go in sometimes, but that's a great save. The way he kept hold of
These
that.
are the type of games that you just don't forget as a goalkeeper. You're saving everything. It's 99 handling.
Do you know what? He's perfected the art of falling on the floor, just having the ball there as well. That's so
The
good.
shots were quite poor, to be honest.
Whoa,
Straight down your throat, aren't they?
I would probably
We're not
say
part
that's
of the
probably
unit.
one of the best, most individual performances I've ever seen, David.
Well, if I had myself in my fantasy team on that day, I would have scored 6 points.
6 points, yeah.
Clean sheet. Held everything. And Pete Schmeichel's in goal the other end.
Nedum, you're a defender.
I was a defender.
They're the type of saves you want your goalkeeper to make, aren't they?
Listen, it's David James. Come on, let's not be daft. He's very, very good at football. I'm not surprised he could make those saves, but he made some better ones along the way. But I'm just glad it's been 20 years, and long may it continue with them not having a clean sheet here against City.
Massive game tonight, Esme.
Yeah.
Looking forward to watching. We have got the team news coming for you guys soon. What are your thoughts on that stat, that West Ham haven't kept a clean sheet at City since 2003?
Well, I was confused. Was that the Etihad? It looked so
It was Main
different.
Road. That was Main
Oh,
Road.
okay.
No,
That
she's young,
explains why it was
she's
so
young.
different then. Yeah, that's quite ridiculous actually. So bodes well for City today, doesn't it? So I imagine in recent years we'd have scored a higher volume of goals as well.
Yeah, I think she might have been a bit thrown off because David looked exactly the same. You know what I mean? That's the thing that's truly remarkable here, which we need to really address. Something's going on
Can we reverse the stat? So when I signed for City, we played West Ham 1-2-1.
This man is literally the stat. That trim that day was exceptional, by the way.
Thanks very much.
You're looking good again today, which is great.
And the cost was probably the same.
So you've not kept a clean sheet for 2003, since 2003. Does that even play on your mind, or is every game just different?
I doubt the players today would have a clue that it had been that long.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where like people tell it to you. It's not something that you just know. But then, who's played in every single one of those games across the 20 years? The answer is nobody. So, as a consequence, does it matter?
I would argue it depends what kind of character you are. Because there's characters in the change room who will go, oh, what chance have we got? Because.
Yeah.
Others will go, well, let's set the record straight. So it depends who the character is. And like Nedum says, who actually knows? Because probably half of them don't even know till after the game.
Exactly.
Now, you'll probably notice that Esme and Nedum have got some absolutely lovely shirts on. Today is all about charity. It's about our very own charity, City in the Community. There is donation text links, which we'll talk about later, and some really cool things for you guys to get involved. Make sure you get your phone out, text in, and City are going to match your donations for this game as well, which is exceptional. And look, the fact that Nedum's got the shirt on looking good, that's a reason to text it anyway.
Other sizes are available, but just not today for me. But yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah. I know exactly what you're saying. But it's a fantastic initiative, and I think the fact that the club continue to support the charity, I think it is key. And for the things in which they offer around the city, like you don't realise how important football is to people until you see how everybody does it and is connected by it. You know, whether you support a different football team, you still want to play. And I think with the schemes that they put forward, it's just a chance for people to have healthier lives, physically, mentally, everything. And yeah, it certainly is key for the city.
It is a charity very close to everybody's hearts in the studio, which we will talk about a little bit later. Like I said, the donation links are down below. But let's go straight to our team news, what you guys have been waiting for. And I can reveal the starting 11. Today it's Ederson, Calvin Phillips, Ilkay Gundogan, Laporte, Gomez, Akanji, Perrone, Phil Foden and Rico Lewis. So we've seen the team. One thing that stands out immediately is Ortega coming in. Let's come to you, David James, about that. Surely just a tactical thing or just a bit of rest for Ederson?
Tactical? Well, actually, we were sort of debating about changes, and there's a point where obviously Manchester City have the league title within their own control. Current form would suggest there's nothing going to stop them from winning the league. And therefore, if I'm part of that team dynamic to win the league, it's all well and good saying I've been on the bench and I supported you while you played. To actually have time on the pitch, a full 90 minutes hopefully, then you've actually physically contributed in the game. So perhaps that's the opportunity. And there's going to be a lot of games coming up. And the last thing that Pep wants, with only the, I say, Champions League, which is going to be essentially Ederson playing, waiting for a final for Ortega to get another game. This is a good opportunity just to bridge from the semi-final.
This is his Premier League debut today. As a defender, when you get a new goalkeeper, I know, granted, he's never let us down playing for City in other competitions. Will it make much of a difference to the way we build up?
No, I think in the games which he's played, I think he's done well. You know, I think he's been confident in terms of receiving the ball. He makes good passes. He's made some good saves as well. And touch wood, this continues. He's not conceded a goal yet this season, I think, in the games that he's played in. Well, at least not in the FA Cup. Well, the FA Cup, yeah.
Two against Southampton.
Yeah, so for me, it's different to see Ederson not playing, but then the fact is he's still a very, very good goalkeeper. And the people playing with him, they've probably done it before. I think it will probably not suit the eye of everybody. But, you know, why would City sign if they didn't think you'd be good enough to be able to play football? So, yeah, I've got no concerns at all.
A bit of good news as well. Nathan Ake is back, Esme. He has been exceptional. He's been unbelievable for him. We didn't really miss him whilst he was away because everybody stepped up, Akanji included, but it's great to see him back, isn't it?
Yeah, he's been so good. I think he came in for a lot of unfair criticism his first season, and I just think this year he's really come into his own at left back. I think it takes a while for players to learn the system and learn the little nuances of how Pep wants them to play. There's so much detail in the style of play, but he's absolutely nailed it down, and even I think going forward he's been a bit of an attacking threat this year. And I just remember that curling finish into the corner. Was it in the FA Cup?
Yeah, against Arsenal, yeah. That was the winner against
Great
Arsenal.
finish. So I do think we missed him in a sense, because having a left-footed player on the left side just offers something different, I think, going forward. But yeah, as you say, everyone's been on such good form. It's stepped up without him.
I've got to say, by the way, those pictures are fantastic.
They're so cute.
Oh, those were, yeah.
We can see the Ake goal against Arsenal. Esme was talking about on the screen. What a finish this was.
So nice. It was just so composed.
Send it home. Yeah, just send it to its home, yeah. Esme, you know about that. You've scored loads of goals, haven't you?
Nedum, let's not throw stones now.
Hey, listen, my house is not totally made of glass.
Can I tell the viewers what your new nickname is?
Well, it's not new. Chloe Kelly gave it to me a while ago, but you can claim it if you like.
What is it?
Well, Haaland. Like sometimes when I'm in the gym after training, I'll just stick my hair in a low bun, and Chloe's like, "Oh, Haaland's here."
I thought we were talking about goals, but it can't be goals, can it?
I was calling you Haaland because of your goal.
It's not.
Guys, I've got a long career ahead of me.
How many goals have you got?
So,
how many goals have you got so far?
You finish your count now.
How many goals have you got?
I could still catch you.
The people want to know. People downloads. How many? One.
Yeah.
And when was that?
2 days ago, yesterday, or the day before.
We will talk about that a little bit later.
No more bickering. Let him run the show.
No, we will of course be revisiting that.
Do you want me to stay in the middle?
It's 2 years later, but it looks like you might need to break them up. You can probably see the cartoons on the screen with our lineup, and they're the amazing work of our youngsters from City in the community. So if you're wondering, we're going to have them graphics throughout the show. Remember, the links to donate will be on the screen throughout. We want to make as much money as possible throughout today's show for such a great cause. Their drawings are better than what I've ever done as well. Let's go back. Let's talk about goal scoring then, now that we were on that conversation, and we've got a frightening front three. Mahrez, Grealish, Haaland, and then Alvarez behind.
Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah, it's not too bad, is it? It's not too bad, and we've seen them do well together as well. You know, the relationship that say Haaland and Haaland and everyone has basically. But I was actually trying to say Grealish and Mahrez. But it's just as a back four playing against it, to see them come out and play in that manner and to be as aggressive as they can be. Like obviously this is a mistake from Team Ream. It's a shame for him, but it's tough. They don't ever take a backward step. If you think you're dealing with one, there are 3 more there that can cause a big issue to you. And obviously Haaland steps up scoring this penalty, but like look at the Alvarez goal, it's unbelievable. Such a good finish. And when you've got people who can do that drop short, someone can stretch in behind, but people who are all desperate to score goals, like it's a nightmare to play against, I'm sure.
And what about trying to save that penalty, David?
Yeah, well, the keeper's got to work it out. It's obvious it was going to go there.
He would have saved that, right?
And he's a former Arsenal keeper, so Haaland probably had a
little
extra
advantage
spice in it. It's interesting, Nedum, talking about Alvarez's goal, because when City signed him, I looked through all his goals and his shooting, and he was a long-range shooter. Essentially, he would be shooting from 30 yards out. So to see him score against Fulham, I mean, it's a fantastic goal, but it wasn't a surprise.
It's an absolute...
Even that bit of skill there as well, by the way, sneaky good, because I thought it must have like deflected off people. It's like, no, he just let everyone run past it and then just set himself up. It's not bad, you could do that, couldn't you guys, mate?
Right. Do you know, I know my strengths, and scoring a goal like that isn't one of them, so I'd give it to someone else who can. But yeah, what a finish.
But what I find...
Whipped it into the far corner.
We will come back to this on a Matchday live show when you've done this, by the way.
Yeah,
okay.
You've definitely got the facilities. I don't remember a Nedum goal like that, but that goal, Nedum, I'll come to you. So on Sunday, there was comparisons made with a certain Argentinian legend, Sergio Aguero, and that goal. It was first done in the studio by Izzy Christensen, and there was a special graphic which went on social media, which I imagine people watching the show and you guys might have seen. Nedum, you were in the studio with Izzy. Is it a right comparison to make that goal with Sergio's?
With Sergio's
With
goal?
Sergio as a whole, Alvarez.
So when he first came in, for his style of play, it reminded me more of Tevez. And then I can see with some of the finishing how it can be like Sergio.
His Aston Villa in 2020.
Yeah.
Sergio Aguero goal.
Yeah, come on, look at that guy. He's unbelievable, isn't he?
Was
it 260 goals?
Nah, it's a different goal.
Yeah.
Different goal?
Totally different goal. In the sense that Sergio Aguero just absolutely leathers this. Whereas Alvarez is a perfect curler over the top of the keeper. Also, Sergio's running at the goal as he smashes it. And Alvarez has kind of chopped back and then done the reverse.
You try telling Jermo he's wrong. You try it.
I'll tell you what, how about we compare them then? Let's put them top and bottom next to each other and let's talk. Esme, back me up on this one. Let's have a look at the similarities.
Don't embarrass yourself. Don't embarrass
between them. The similarities in this are uncanny.
No, I don't think so. No. I think it's despair from the goalkeeper, but that's it.
Yeah, I think...
They're both Argentine.
Yeah, they both scored. It was on grass as well, so...
But there are a lot of similarities.
The thing
It ended up in a similar part of the goal.
Look, they're both Argentine, they're both strikers, they both played
Did you
for
hear
us.
the show on the weekend, though? The thing which I think stood out to me was... so Jolien dropped in a little humble brag. He said he was speaking with Sergio. And I was like, I wonder which Sergio... Oh, Sergio Aguero, yeah. And he said that... Sergio said to him that Alvarez reminds him, and this is a bit weird, of himself and Tevez. He sees it as a mix of the two. When you think about how significant both those players were for City in their own different reasons, if you can have a player that's got those sorts of attributes, like that's a player you want to have in your side for sure.
Can I just say that what I find fascinating and worrying for any opposition is that Erling Haaland does not... He scored 1 goal outside the box against Wolves, which he mishit. He doesn't often shoot outside the box. You know that inside the box, that guy's going to score goals. When Alvarez starts hitting shots from outside the box, you go, hang on a minute, we've got to watch this guy in here and that guy out there. And the way that, as you said, the setup is today, they're both going to be in those positions quite a lot. That's worrying.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's very, very exciting for...
I was excited to see... No, I'm being the opposition.
Yeah,
I'm going, him and him and him. Oh.
They're sort of like two different type of strikers, but both so good in their own way.
I think they complement each other so well. Like, in the De Bruyne role against Arsenal when we were playing balls up to Haaland and De Bruyne was just getting in those spaces just behind him and driving with the ball. I just think Alvarez is so perfect for that role because he's so dynamic and aggressive getting onto loose balls, and when he actually receives it, I think his dribbling is so good, and I think his passing range is really underrated. Was it the second goal or a chance maybe in the second half against Fulham where he sprayed it out to the far side?
Yeah,
such a nice pass. So I've been singing his praises all season, and I feel like if Haaland hadn't been here and been so ridiculous, everyone would be saying Alvarez was the signing of the century because he was such a bargain. But he's so talented, and I think it's exciting that we've tied him down to such a long contract because he's going to be a very important player for years to come.
Well, if Haaland wasn't here, maybe we'd be sitting watching a Europa League fight-off.
I mean,
I think we've been okay without him in previous years, haven't we?
That was a joke.
Right then. Well, we heard David James's joke. You can have your opinion. We're going to put the WhatsApp number on the screen. Please get in contact with us. You can ask us absolutely anything. Anyone in the studio, you can ask David James about the joke he just made. You can ask Esme about life playing for Manchester City, and you can ask Nedum what it's like to know Kyle Walker and to do a podcast with him. What we're going to do is we're going to head over to the West Ham team news. Let's have a look at how our away team lines up for this evening's game. In goal is Fabianski. Then they have Kufal, Kera Ogbonna, Cresswell as captain, Palmeiro dos Santos, Downs Paqueta, Fornals Bowen, and Antonio. You can hear the wows already. Substitutes for West Ham: Areola, Anang, Johnson, Lanzini, Cornet, Ings and Ben Rama. Now then,
stunned.
There is one man missing that I am so surprised about.
Stunned.
That's Declan Rice. No Declan Rice, and the team seems like it's a much weakened side.
Nah, I wouldn't necessarily reach to say that, but I think Declan Rice is the most important player for that team. You know, he's the one who's been linked with big moves to elsewhere. That's an England international. So for him to not be in the squad at all, that feels very, very strange. You know, we're hoping he's not injured and it's not too bad and so on. But then I look at, say, Fornals playing. I think he started the game against Palace, but he came off because I think they ended up bringing on Benrahma. But then it's Antonio playing on that side, and what's his name again? The right winger. Bowen. Sorry, completely lost track. It's still mostly a strong side for West Ham. And I think it's interesting that they brought Kera in instead of, say, the two left-footed centre-backs that they had at the weekend. So there's more balance there. But that's not a team that sort of the manager will put out to say, just go and roll over. They will have a go. But I'm stunned that Rice isn't there. And like I say, it's a big question mark there.
David, you're a former Hammer. I have to come to you and have to ask. They're on 34 points right now, and they're only 4 points above the drop zone. How many points do you think they need to secure survival? And, of course, they've got European competition. They're the only team down there that are playing in the European competition. Is that playing on their mind to keep the players fresh for the semi-final they've got coming up?
I think the Europe will always obviously be on their mind, but primarily it has to be, and this is the same for Manchester City, talking about the treble, if we're allowed to mention that on there. Are we allowed to mention that treble?
You said it now.
The three competitions they're still in. You can only play the game that you've got to play. So, like Nedum said, I'm very surprised that Declan Rice isn't in there, but maybe, and the logic would be maybe that this would be a game where he would be pushed to the limit, and therefore that would compromise the upcoming games. On 34 points, I mean, 2 wins.
You think 2?
Yeah, it's easy to say 2 wins should keep you safe, but then...
But it's like half your games, it's like 2 out of 4.
I've been in that position, and it's kind of like you're looking for 1, let alone 2. One of those 4 games is... They'll be fine. West Ham will be fine. They'll be Premier League next year. They'll be European champions, playing the other European champions at the Etihad at some point.
Well, that is what we like to hear. Esme, let's talk about West Ham and their threats going forward. Let's talk about Jarrod Bowen. He's scored goals against City before. I mean, I can remember a certain game last year, but how much of a threat is he?
I think he's a great player. I really like him. Obviously, coming from the lower leagues, he probably was a bit underrated when he arrived, and has served us some unhappy memories over the last couple of seasons. But I think his movement is very, very good. And I like how strong and powerful he is on the ball. I think he's a real threat, so hopefully we can try and keep him quiet today.
I find it pretty mad, this stat. I've got a stat for you here. They've scored 6 goals from corners in the last 6 Premier League games, which is 2 more than they had in their previous 27 matches this season. What's changed, David? Is it have they just been practicing set pieces? You know, set pieces are a massive part of the game.
Someone read my mind, didn't they?
Yeah.
Well, they scored 3 in the last game.
Yeah,
they've actually only scored. They've only scored corners against 4 teams in the Premier League this season. So one of those weird things where stats make them sound like they're really strong. Crystal Palace perhaps just not very good at defending corners. 2 of the goals were scored against Newcastle, who themselves are not particularly great at defending corners necessarily. So I think you have to be vigilant because any team is capable. But if West Ham are using corners as their source, it might explain why they've got so few goals in the Premier League this season. To the point, and I don't like bringing this up as an ex-West Ham player, that their highest goal scorers, all 3 are on 5 Premier League goals this season. I think Haaland scored more in a month or in a couple of games than any one of their players. Well, that's the reality. They struggle to score goals, and the fact that so many have come in one game against Crystal Palace is probably, and they lost as well, which is the worst thing.
He doesn't struggle to score goals at Haaland. He scored a lot of goals in comparison to a lot of teams. Nedum, let's talk about Mikel Antonio real quick. He either scored or assisted a goal in each of his last 3 Premier League appearances, so he's got 2 goals and 1 assist.
Not too bad.
It's not bad. Are they going to be looking for him to really cause a problem today?
Oh, absolutely. I think they 100% need him to, by the way. This is a great goal, but thankfully it's from a long time ago and he's not really doing this anymore, thankfully, touch wood. But I think he's key for them and he's key for West Ham because in a game like this, they're not going to have a ton of possession. And if they end up having to do things in transition, you want someone that's going to be strong enough to hold the ball up, but then quick enough to be able to stretch the game in behind as well. And I think that's exactly what he is. I think there's probably one of the reasons why he's sort of jumped ahead of Ings in recent weeks, because there was a point where people thought Ings was going to be the reason why they stayed safe. But Ings isn't really getting much of a look in at the moment. And I can see with Antonio's strengths how that can be a way forward for them. And then working alongside Bowen as well. Like, I always find with City, the teams that come and drop off against them, they're good, but can you do anything going the other way? And I think the attributes that Antonio has mean that they will always have an opportunity, always have a chance. Like I saw it against Arsenal probably 3-4 weeks ago. They were 2-0 down and struggling, but then before you know it, everything's direct. And there's somebody willing to chase the ball down, to hustle and harry the defenders. And that's essentially what you need to do, because if you make the game comfortable for City, then before you know it, 3 points are gone for you.
How do you defend against someone like Antonio? Do you get touch tight to him, or do you just...
No.
You definitely don't.
No. Like, he's not to say that he's going to be definitely stronger than anybody, but then that's kind of what he wants, because when the forward can get themselves into the position where you can't access the ball, then you're just there on the journey. You're not actually taking part as such. And as well, the referee will be keen to give free kicks against you on a like. And when you're probably playing defence, you're very close to being one of the last players on the field. So that's a huge risk. And for somebody that wants to get in behind all the time, we'll take away their strength and don't give them the space in behind. I think City are ultimately very aggressive overall, but I think that level of aggression comes because people at the front line are working harder as well. And if they can do that, then great. But if there's no sort of like pressure on those back line, just take away his space, and before you know it, he'll be doing something which doesn't suit his style, as opposed to something which will be you trying to get too tight to him.
Now, we mentioned it earlier on in the show. Today is a massive, massive occasion for us, everyone. It's a City in the Community takeover, and we want you guys at home to get involved. Of course, the graphics are on the screen for you guys to donate, but City in the Community today have launched a new fundraising initiative, and it's called Healthy Goals, empowering healthier lives through football. Jolien Lescott and Steph Horton went along to find out more. Check this out, and then we're going to head pitchside, where Alistair Mann is joined by a very special guest.
Hey you, Healthy Goals is here.
New fundraising initiative by City in the Community.
To uplift the physical
and mental health
of City youth.
Creating new community football spaces in Manchester,
where we can deliver our youth-led programmes.
And with Man City matching donations.
Will you play your part?
Well, thanks, FG, and who better to speak to about this initiative than Mike Geary, who is head of City in the Community. Mike, thanks for joining us first and foremost. Tell us a little bit more about this initiative.
Yeah, so this Healthy Goals initiative is directly connected to our main purpose, which is all about empowering healthier lives through football. And the initiative specifically is around creating safe spaces for young people and families to play football across Manchester.
So how has this come about?
So this has been an initiative we've been working on for a while, so we're really glad to be able to launch it now. We've actually got 2 facilities that are pretty much ready to go. This is about breaking down barriers and giving everyone the opportunity to play and to be physically active and to enjoy the sport, and whether that's young groups of young people or families, we feel that everyone should have access to the game.
And how does this enable people to do so? Just simply by providing the opportunity?
So this initiative is actually all about creating physical facilities, so either regenerating existing spaces or building brand new football pitches. So by doing that, we're actually creating open access, free to play. So across Manchester there is a lot of football pitches, but there isn't many that are free to play, and the ones that do exist aren't necessarily in the best condition. So what we want to do is create safe spaces where young people can go and play for free, and remove all of those barriers and make those pitches completely accessible.
You see, you kind of touched on it there, but we all think of Manchester being a thriving place full of areas where we can do this. Has there not been that kind of access, that kind of investment, so to speak?
I think historically there's been a lot of investment probably over the last 10-15 years in 3G and 4G AstroTurf pitches, but a lot of them, like I say, you have to pay to play, and I think for us, if we can provide access for free that enables everyone to play, then I think it's a really powerful message. And one of our core outcomes is about getting people physically active and uplifting physical and mental health. So if we can get more people playing the game, that's a great way to do it.
How can people get involved? How can they find out what to do and where to go?
Yeah, so fans can get involved. They can text to donate. You'll be able to see it across, the LEDs. It's in the Matchday programme. There's a QR code on the front, so you can text to donate, or you can find out more if you just go mancity.com/healthy goals. All the information's on there. You can actually donate on there as well. And between now and the end of September, the club are actually going to match every donation that's made by the fans.
Just one final thought. How can you sort of judge that this is a success, that it's working, that it's doing what you wanted it to do?
So on all of the facilities that we invest in and that we create, we're having a combination of programming, so our community programmes will actually be delivered there, as well as providing that free open access where young people can just have the opportunity to free play. So we will obviously be out in the community with our staff, and we've built really good relationships with the community through sort of consultation of what to build, how to build it, what they wanted there. So we've got a really good connection with the community, and we'll keep those relationships going, and they'll tell us what's working and what's not. And that's part of what we do, is we want to work with the community. It's not being done to them, it's being done with them.
Well, it sounds like a fantastic initiative, and I wish you all the very best with it. If you do want to get involved at all, as Mike was saying, there's plenty of information, the website and so on and so forth. Do get involved. Wonderful cause. City and Community. When did they match it? All the way till the funding? All the way till when?
End of September.
End of September. Not that you should stop in September, but let's get plenty in before September, and it will have a magnificent difference to people of Manchester.
Amazing, amazing. That was Alistair Mann and Mike Geary, Pitchside. And you heard that right, Manchester City are matching all donations made to the City and the Community charity. So please, if you've got any spare change, please use the links down below and City will double it for you. Right, so let's talk real quickly about City and the Community and their work. And one man in the studio I'm going to come to is yourself, Nedum. You grew up in Newton Heath, which is one of the locations where these new football spaces are being built. How important are the initiatives like Healthy Goals?
Yeah, they're incredibly important. I don't think, in the moment I realised when I was younger, but just having the opportunities to go and take part in the schemes like that. I remember taking penalties against Alex Williams, the whole feeling of being around other people, being a part of the community, and sort of seeking help, because not everybody in every space has the opportunity to get the chance to play football in sort of a good and safe environment. But with these sorts of spaces, that's the sort of thing that you can do. And I think it's youth-led in terms of the coaching as well. So you can see someone that might come along from very young, and then before you know it, they're in their 20s and they're coaching young kids in that same space. And I think it's that sense of hope. I think the charity is fantastic for that. So many great people working for the charity, so many great people coming and taking part as well. And the thing is, this is our city. You know, when you really look at the people's needs and so on, the fact that City can be attentive to that and give them opportunities to go and experience that space, a good environment, a good setup with good people around you. You know, it's one of the reasons why people love the club and one of the reasons why you so feel like a big part of the community in Manchester as well.
One of the reasons people love the club, indeed, and another reason people love the club, Esme, is what they've done for the women's game as well. And obviously, Steph was on the VT that we saw. How important is that for you as a whole? That it's going to be an all-inclusive game, something that we, as a club and society, strive towards.
I think it's huge because football is such an escape for young people. It can sort of help build friendships and build really long-lasting relationships with other people through the shared love of football, and we're all really passionate as a squad and in the England squad as well about making football accessible from young girls from all sort of socio-economic backgrounds, getting it into areas where young children who may not be able to drive out into country areas where they hold the academies can play football and just enjoy being part of that community and have opportunities to play and grow. And as you said, for them then to see that there are opportunities in coaching and potentially follow that pathway is really special. And as a squad, we're really proud that we can help to inspire young girls to play football, and it's great that City are kind of facilitating them having space to do so.
And who knows, we might be creating the new Esme Morgan as well. David, let's talk fondly about your visits to City in the community sessions. What has made the charity stand out so much to you?
Well, when I joined the club, one of the first things I did was, and it was here, did an activity with Special Olympics. And coming from a background at Watford, which was a community club itself, and having travelled around a number of different clubs in the country and not seeing that same kind of attachment to the community, I fell in love with the club straight away because I thought you're doing something, and later on with Portsmouth as well, and this is all linked to City. When someone in the public looks at your football club and go, I tell you what, I'm never going to watch a game, but they do so good for us, then that means the club are doing the right thing. And everything that you two guys have talked about is what I think of Man City. Because there's a part where you go, right, the team's really good, they're going to win everything. But there's a part that goes, well, actually, they do so much good for their community that people benefit and they win as well. I mean, it's a double header. And Alex Williams, who's been the head of the community for 35 years now. 35 years. I mean, it sounds like it's a new initiative, but this is what City and Manchester City have been doing for 30 plus years. It is fantastic.
It is fantastic indeed. Remember, City are going to match all donations today, which is so important. We are a massive community, a massive family here at Man City. So please do, when you have a chance, donate by sending text messages. You can text healthy to 70201 to give £1, healthy to 70331 to give £3, healthy to 70970 to give £5, and healthy to 70191 to give £10. We are going to head down to Pitchside now, where our commentator Alistair Mann is with former City captain Andy Morrison. You can download the City app for exclusive matchday commentary. We're not allowed our phones in the studio, but we're all going to get our phones out. We're going to donate to such an incredible charity, and I hope you guys at home can. But let's head to Pitchside.
Well, welcome to Pitchside. As ever, I'm delighted to be joined by former City skipper Andy Morrison. Andy, we've digested the teams and we'll come on to the team news in a minute, but City now find themselves second again. Did you expect Arsenal to maintain their challenge and keep City on their toes?
I hoped that Chelsea, might do something, but it was a stroll for Arsenal. It really was. I don't know whether the way the fixtures have fallen. With the 3 draws and a defeat against us going in. If you wanted a pick-me-up game, it looks like Chelsea. I think that's their 7th defeat on the spin, and they struggled on the night. So great victory for Arsenal and puts them back at the top. And questions now are asked of us again tonight.
You talk about the questions asked. We've looked at the side tonight, a few little tweaks, including Nathan Ake back to fitness and straight in the side. What does that tell you about Pep's, feelings towards him?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think at this moment in time, we look at Akanji comes out, Gundogan comes out. The players that need a breather. It is relentless. Pep spoke about it after the game. 3 days game, 3 days game. And the players would probably say they don't want it any other way. But it is a big ask. And, interesting that Grealish and Rodri are still in there, you know, and yeah, there's a lot of trust in whatever team he puts out there, and I think that'll balance again into a 3 with Aki on the left, Kyle Walker on the right, Diaz through the middle with John stepping into midfield.
Yeah, I'm just digesting the team. Obviously, one of the headlines is Stefan Ortega in for Ederson as well. I guess this is an essential part of the season in terms of the number of games and every 3 days that he needs players to get game time, doesn't he?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I think you'd always want to pick, you know, and if your strongest 11 or what you believe, not necessarily in people's perception of what the strongest 11 is, what wins this game of football tonight, with the problems that West Ham are going to bring, how they play, you know, there's more than enough on the pitch, you know, to win the game. And Ortega coming, for me, it has to be protecting Ederson against whether he's carrying something, you know, it could be something very small that perhaps he doesn't want to aggravate or you know, or put him in danger going forward, because he is key. He is so key to what we do.
You were extremely complimentary about City's defending against Fulham at the weekend. Do you anticipate them having to be equally as stout today against the likes of Antonio?
I'd like to say no. I just thought there was periods where, you know, midway through the second half, I just thought we looked a little bit leggy, and then obviously the manager made the changes, which were key changes that just, you know, made it solid, and we saw the game out. I don't think it'll be the same tonight. You know, we've seen the West Ham team, and you know, I just see them in a deep block, Ali, for 90 minutes, trying to stay in the game and trying not to concede.
A couple of questions to finish with. One is just that question I kind of touched on before with you, but how does Pep maintain that level of momentum, that level of desire every 3 days? I mean, with all due respect to West Ham, it's at home, it's against the side who've been struggling. How does he keep getting them up and up and up and up?
It's a good question, and you know, listen, I'd love to be in there and be privy to exactly what it is, but these are unique players. I remember Vincent Kompany once saying that you know, you're chosen as players to come and play for this club, and one of the qualities you'll have to have is mental strength, because of the demands. You know, game after game after game, it's relentless. But I just think they all buy into it. I think they all bounce off each other. I think there's a togetherness there behind the scenes. I just see little things on social media between the players, and there's a special bond in there as well, which plays a massive part. You know, I think we saw a Chelsea team last night that on paper, you know, looks like an exceptional team of individuals, but we have something here that, you know, when they need to go to the well, they find it every single game, and at the moment, you know, I can't see anybody beating us if we're at our best.
Tonight's score prediction, Andy?
I'm going to go for 4-1.
Oh, okay.
Because teams just have, you know, we concede one goal on many occasions, and I'd love to say 4-0, but I've always been a pessimist, and we speak about this every but this is a team, West Ham, who they're playing every 3 days with European football as well. You know, they don't have the depth of squad or the quality, so it's going to be a tough ask for them tonight if we're firing.
Okay, Andy Morrison, pessimistic at 4-1. That's telling you something. Let's go back to the studio, FG.
Thank you, Alistair. Thank you, Andy Morrison. And thank you to you guys at home who've got your WhatsApp questions in. Let's go straight to them. We have a question from Ali, and it's for you, Esme. The question is, how does it feel to play for City at such a young age?
It's very special, and I forget that I am still relatively early in my career because I've been in the first team since I was 16. I think this is my 5th season with the first team now, although I broke my leg for one of them, so I kind of lost one. But yeah, I absolutely love it, and I sometimes forget how special it is to be playing for my own team, and then I walk into the change room and see a City shirt with my name on it, and more recently some kids have had shirts with Morgan on the back, and that is just so surreal to me, but it honestly makes my day when I see it. It makes me so proud, and I think my mum absolutely would not ever want me to play for anyone else, so I'm stuck.
I'm sure she's so proud of you, like we all are. Let's talk about the women's team, and let's talk about the title charge. For those of you who keep tabs, it was a great win at the weekend, a 4-1 victory this weekend against Reading. Chloe Kelly scored, Lauren Hemp, Steph Horton, and of course, Bunny Shaw. A brilliant performance, and you are absolutely well in the title race and pushing for it, and we're all so hopeful that you'll do it, Esme.
Yeah, I mean, the last 89 minutes were good. We didn't start off so well, conceding straight away, but after that, I thought we were brilliant. We turned it round, I think, within the next 20 minutes or so, and played some really, really good football. And we've been on good form recently, and feel confident that we can sort of just take care of what we can take care of and win our last few games. We've got the derby coming up to look forward to, Liverpool this weekend, which is always a tough game. But we are really confident that we can win our last few games and see where that takes us. It is out of our hands, but there's some other big games going on that are obviously out of our control, so we can only hope that they pan out in our direction.
And let's talk real quick about Bunny Shaw. She just scores and scores. And scores and scores, and it must be an absolute joy to play with her alongside obviously Lauren and Chloe.
Yeah, I think we create so many chances as a team, and knowing that you've got someone like Bunny ready to put them away at the end is so important. Those two Muppets celebrating.
Question for you, Esme.
Yeah.
The Chloe goal, do you think that's Chloe's or Bunny's? Because Bunny thinks it's hers, doesn't she?
Yeah, I did see Bunny wheel off and celebrate. I don't know. I had a funny angle on it because look at me blocking the wall.
Honestly, you make everything possible.
I'm taking assists on some of these goals. Bunny's header, I was blocking the keeper. Same again.
Fantastic.
Great finish by Steph though.
Is that 2 weeks in a row?
Do you know, every match day -1, this is why practice makes perfect. Steph will hammer free kicks. She gets all the mannequins out from the same position, just free kick after free kick. And I'd stayed out to just play some passes into Chloe Kelly.
Interesting, yeah.
What
are we going to talk about next?
She's been a great servant, Steph, as well for City, and she's scoring
she's
goals.
amazing.
Yeah,
let's talk about.
Yeah, so let's talk about practice scoring goals and the practice you put into
scoring goals. Esme, special day for you yesterday. You might recognise the footage we're showing. It was a game against Birmingham City 2 years ago. Your first goal.
2 years ago.
For City. Can you remember this like it was yesterday?
Yeah,
what
I mean,
finish,
it wasn't the most glamorous goal. Kind of just guided it into the corner, but I was so excited. I was so happy. And yeah, been waiting ever since for the next one, so I'm sure it's coming soon, I can feel it.
Mr. David James made some comparisons to that goal, didn't you?
That's a Haaland goal.
It is a striker's finish.
Yeah.
I'm going to take that, just hanging around the box, waiting for a loose ball to come through, Little deflection, I was ready.
And then what happened?
Well, I broke my leg, Nedum, what am I to do, do you know what I mean?
And in the other year?
Yeah, this season it's not been so good.
Okay,
but as I say, I'm kept back a lot of the time for corners, for my speed to kill the transition.
Yeah,
you know?
Of course, she talks about Steph practicing day before every game, try to focus on that, gets loads of goals. And then she's got one goal.
But Esme, isn't it true when Steph's practicing her free kicks, you're practicing the blocking run?
Yeah, she must do,
Yeah.
Or just running back from the halfway line, yeah.
So that's an assist. And also, defensively winning games, Nedum. Goals aren't important for a defender, are they?
Ask Esme that in a few years' time, she's still on one. That's all I'll say.
Honestly, I take pride in just keeping it simple, supplying my teammates and letting them play to their strengths.
You're a team player.
I know my game.
Know your role, Wes.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's what we like. That's what you want in the dressing room. Not like I've ever been in one. But really good to see you in the title race. And obviously, we're cheering you on all the way. Big game against Liverpool this weekend. But let's talk about our other Manchester City teams. The Academy, the EDS, recently, you might have seen all the pictures online. You can see Shay Charles there going up to get
Big Shay.
Big Shay to go and get the trophy. The EDS have done it again at the Academy Stadium. They lifted another title. What a season for the lads. I can see Borges with his phone out taking selfies. But Nedum, you spent a lot of time with the Academy.
Not quite, but I spent some time with Shay and with Borges as well. Really good kids. They just want to play football, enjoy it, they work hard, they really like their teammates as well. And, they love these moments and, long may that continue from a Blue perspective.
And there's also a documentary coming out soon.
Oh, there is.
Which you've been a part of as well, which everyone can watch, which will be super, super exciting for you. Esme, I want to ask you about the EDS guys. What are they like around the training ground and overall?
Real characters. Real characters. They're funny too. It's funny you mentioned Carlos because he's great. He's so funny. He'll always just come bouncing through the gym and the physio room, just chatting away to everyone. He's so bubbly. But yeah, they're funny. A few stray footballs balls come flying around in the gym, you'll be squatting and having to check your shoulder at the same time. But no, we like having them round. They're great for the energy around the place.
They are great, and we are obviously so happy that they're doing so well. Our under-18s, it's not over yet. We're going for the national title, and that is going to be against West Ham. And it's going to be here at the Etihad Stadium on the 10th of May. So if you are around on that Wednesday, please come down, support the boys, watch us, hopefully, fingers crossed, lift another trophy. And if you're not available, it is going to be on City Plus and Recast. I mean, wow, our academies are good, aren't they?
That'll be a big game, because didn't West Ham win the FA Youth Cup?
They did indeed, yeah.
Proper
crunch match.
What am I doing? I might come down.
I think we'll all be down, and if not, you can watch it on City Plus and Recast. We've got some more WhatsApp questions, and again, Esme, they're for you. You're very popular in the studio today. I want to ask. Well, we want to ask you, what is your most memorable moment so far in the team? I mean, I imagine.
I mean, we've just shown it. The one and only goal. No, I think there's games where we've played at Wembley or cup finals are so special. The celebrations afterwards as well. But yeah, those big occasions where the stadiums are packed out and the atmosphere is amazing. I love all of those days.
We've got an interesting WhatsApp, and this is for all of us in the studio here, and it says, it's the 89th minute and the last chance of the game. Who do you want to take it, Alvarez or Haaland? Let's start with you, David, and we'll go left.
Depends where it is.
I was thinking the same thing.
What type of finish we require?
If it's 19 yards out, then definitely Alvarez.
I think we're all in agreement, aren't we, Nedum?
Yeah, I would say so, yeah. He's got 50 already, so I think he knows what he's doing, yeah.
So inside the box, we're going Erling Haaland, and we can see Julian. If it's this man outside the box, Esme, you're backing him every time.
Oh yeah, especially after the other day. He's got his eye in now. I'm expecting a couple more before the end of the season.
He's spoiled for choice,
this is the man inside the box. I mean, he is one goal away from that record. Well, I mean, he knows about the record, surely, doesn't he, Nedum? A player like him is there. The records are there for him to break, and he'll be desperate to get a goal.
Yeah, I think in regards to him knowing about the record, he'll know about it mostly because everyone will be telling him about it. I think that's the way that we sort of live our lives through football sometimes. It's, oh, did you know? Did you know? Did you know? Like he could try and be in his own bubble, but he won't escape it because every time he's in front of a camera, that'll be one of the questions that'll be asked. It's like, do you think you can break this record? You are now X amount of goals away from said record. And you know, he loves his football. He understands the history of some of those people that have scored the goals that have done so well in this league, and he wants to be one of them. Like, and best of all, you know, for as good as his goals are, he celebrates just as much when someone else scores. I think that's a sign of somebody that's not just doing it for themselves, they're thinking about the team, and as a consequence, like, I'm so happy he's wearing this blue of Man City.
I think we all are. We've got a question from Hernan as well on the WhatsApp, which you guys can see on the screen. It says, do you think from now on Alvarez will be playing more often with Haaland? Esme?
I think obviously he comes in as De Bruyne's replacement, and as you look to the big games, it's hard to not select Kevin De Bruyne. He's just the man who steps up when you need him most. But I think going forward, obviously De Bruyne's maybe not, I wouldn't say coming to the end of his career, but he can't be playing 90 minutes every few days. So I definitely think that Alvarez would come in a little more often, and they complement each other so well. And he's been such a decisive figure when he has played that I think it will only be a matter of time before he's sort of a regular fixture in the starting 11.
Absolutely, he has just signed that new contract. I think it was after the Burnley game.
It's Kev as well.
His future, and there is Kevin looking very relaxed. We hope to see him back, don't we, David? Very soon.
But we hope to see him get changed and get on the pitch tonight. He's my captain in fantasy football.
No, we don't need to mention fantasy football too much. We do have an FPL show which me and Nedum are involved in, but we can talk about that another day. Let's just talk real quick. We will recap the Man City team in a second. We've seen obviously Haaland. We've seen Haaland's going for the record today. Let's talk about Jack Grealish. Let's just put a focal point on Jack Grealish because he has been exceptional. He scored in some big games for us this season, and he seems to be getting better and better and fitting the system more and more.
Yeah, I think he had a fantastic season last season. It's interesting how people sort of view things. He came to Man City, they won the league, and he was the massive part of that, played in most of the games, started most of the games, everything. But this season, again, interestingly, going back to that question about Alvarez and whether he'll be seen more from one of the guys texting in there. what Jack Grealish is now doing he's got a focal point in Haaland. So a lot of Jack's skills. I mean, the ball he laid in for actually it was Mahrez. Forgive me. The ball he laid in for Mahrez in the FA Cup, third goal. It was the most beautiful pass I've seen all season, other than a couple from Kevin De Bruyne. Granted, it's kind of like Pep and the team know that Jack in that position will deliver you this, and Pep has now got the people to be in the right place because it was against Sheffield United. It wasn't necessarily the strongest opposition, but this guy's, I love him.
I think I love him as well. Esme,
You think?
I think. Let's talk about Nathan Ake. He's back in. Obviously, he's on the same side as Grealish. They sort of complement each other a lot, don't they? In terms of build-up play, and also it's so nice for Grealish to have someone so solid behind him.
Yeah, they combine really well, and I think Ake's got a great recognition of when Grealish needs support to come out and maybe switch the play, and when to just sit back and leave him to it and let him go 1v1 and beat his man and deliver. And I think also Grealish this season has really developed his decision making in that sense. I think every single time he makes the right call. If he sees defenders sort of backing up, ready to double up on him, he just turn back out and start again. But I think what he does really well now is recognising the moments to take people on and be direct.
We've got about 15 minutes to go until kick-off. One thing I do want to do before we go and have a look at the starting 11 is I want to talk to you about the graphics you've seen on screen there from our youngsters involved in the City and the community charity. Today is all about the charity. Please, please, please text in. Man City are going to match your donations. We want to raise as much money as possible for an absolutely amazing, amazing cause. You can also go online and donate at mancity.com/healthy goals. Let's take a look at the Manchester City 11 before we analyse it going into kick-off. In goal for us today, it's a new one. It's Ortega who is playing. Then it's Kyle Walker, John Stones, Ruben Diaz, Nathan Ake. We have Rodri, Bernardo, Mahrez, Alvarez, Grealish, and Erling Haaland. Edison's just rested. Premier League debut for Ortega. Captaincy for Kyle Walker. Nedum, he never ever lets us down, does he?
No, he's very, very good. And, you know, interestingly, in the last few months, he's had to remain patient as well. And I think for somebody that's been such a fixture within the side, I'm sure that would have been quite tough for him. But just goes to show, like, opportunity sometimes comes when you least expect it. But he's played particularly well in the recent games. And, yeah, it's good to see him as captain as well, because you've got Gundogan as captain, I think you've got De Bruyne as captain, and then you've got Ruben Diaz on the field. But Kyle Walker's the captain. I think that says a lot about what he means to the football club and to these players. And I'm also happy to see, you know, Ortega getting a chance as well, because he's done well in the cup games that I've seen. It's nice to see that he can play, you know, whoever you want in that goal and know that the team's going to play in the same way and have the confidence that, you know, things are going to be fine from that standpoint.
You get the impression with the goalkeepers as well, David, that even with Scott Carson in the picture, they get on so well. They obviously train together day to day. What is it like being in the community of goalkeepers? Is the goalkeeper union a real thing, and is that something that's evident at City?
I think it's evident to see whether it's a real thing, there's part of you want to be. I think Man City is quite unique in this, that anyone who goes into this team isn't expected to play every game for one reason or another. Doesn't matter how good you are, and we talk about Kevin De Bruyne or Haaland, there will be times where you don't play. From the goalkeepers union point of view, it's well established, isn't it, that Ortega's going to play in the Cup. He was player of the tournament against Chelsea here in the League Cup. Of course, the couple of goals against Southampton are the only ones. City are on course to be the first team to win the FA Cup without conceding a goal. Ortega's been involved heavily in all of that. So everyone kind of knows they've got a place there. And the fact that he's playing tonight, again, means that, once again, Edison isn't going to play every game. And it's more of a team effort than it is outstanding goalkeeper and a support act. It's a beautiful thing to watch.
It is indeed. Esme, we saw Stones and Diaz a lot during lockdown, and that was a sort of thing that City fans in general really, really spoke about a lot. And we've not seen it as much. We did see it recently again, but it seems like Stones and Diaz is back, and it's a great partnership, isn't it? Yeah,
I think they work so well together. It's difficult because John Stones has been playing so well in that inside fullback role that, obviously, as you mentioned, it's been keeping Kyle Walker out, which, if you said it a couple of seasons ago, you would have thought was unheard of. But he's just really taken to that role, looks so natural there. But I think if you are going to play Kyle Walker, you've got to find a way to get John Stones in the team, because he is just the epitome of what Pep wants from his centre-backs and his defenders. His ball-playing ability is second to none, in my opinion, and he's so good defensively as well.
And obviously, we always seem to talk about this, Nedum, but Rodri. He is just the glue, isn't he? He is the first name on the team sheet.
Yeah, it certainly feels that way. You know, we talk so much about City's rotations and so on and so forth, but then there's the number 6 in there that tends not to be rotated too much. I think he's very much a pillar in terms of how the team want to play. And the fact he's stayed available, the fact he's continued to make an impact, not just defensively, you know, linking stuff up from the back. He's even contributed with some goals and assists as well this year. He's a fantastic player, and I think it just says a lot, because it was only a couple of years ago, you know, Fernandinho was there as well, and if Fernandinho wasn't playing, there's like an outcry, like, why is this guy playing? But now everyone knows that when they see him on the field, there's going to be a quality performance, and, you know, more power to him. Nice, humble guy who works hard and wants to do well for City, so ticks every box.
Ticks every box indeed. Now, we are hearing that a few West Ham players are actually ill, which is why they're not involved today. We can see the pictures of West Ham warming up right now. How big of a loss is someone like Declan Rice in this team?
Well, massive. I mean, we said at the top of the show when we first got the team sheet that maybe it's because they were expecting to do a lot of work, but obviously if it's illness, then that makes it understandable. The concern would have been with Rice in the side that this was still going to be a massively difficult game for West Ham. If you factor in him missing and factoring illness, the question then is, are any of these players on the edge of that same illness? And yeah.
Have you ever been involved? Has anyone in the studio ever been involved in something like that, where you've not been feeling the best, but you've sort of had to play, or you felt like you needed to force yourself to play?
Have you, Esme?
I don't remember now.
Yeah, I have to be fair. And it was a game, it was under Mark Hughes, and we had to get here like 3.5 hours before the game. I think this was the time of maybe like bird flu or swine flu or something. And I was wiped out. I was all over the place. I was like, oh, it's game day, game day is what it is. And I was on the bench for the game, nearly dying. Came onto the field, 2 minutes in, gave away a penalty. I was like, oh, this is not my day at all, is it? But thankfully, Shea Given saved it. We ended up winning. But I was like, there's no way on planet Earth I should have been on that field at all. In hindsight, yeah, thankfully I got away with it. But yeah, never again from that.
Was it just a case of you not telling a single person?
It's the whole like paradox of trying to be like tough. But then in being tough, you're actually weakening your own team. There's no medal for affecting your team in a negative manner because you're trying to show that you want to be out there. Like sometimes the right decision is to let a medical professional make a proper decision instead of me. No, I'm fine. I know I'm sweating indoors, but I'm fine. Yeah.
I think Addy said that as well. The misconception is that players are 100% fit when they're on the pitch.
Yeah.
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, you're hardly ever 100% fit. There's always some niggle. So feeling a little bit down is only an addition to another niggle.
Yeah.
I think I was ill when I let 6 in here.
Ah, right.
It must be it.
That's not the worst excuse. I mean, Esme, if you were ill and you were going to game, I can almost guarantee you would not concede a penalty straight away when you came on like Nedum.
She also wouldn't score though, so.
Let's talk.
Getting old now, come on. As we mentioned, I've got the rest of my career to catch you up.
I'll be supporting you as well. I hope you do it.
Thank you.
Hope you do it.
I think everybody will be cheering you on, but even more so now, so we can wipe the smile off Nedum's face, because we're all Team Esme.
How many did you get in your career?
18.
18?
Yeah, it's a long way to go, Esme. It's a long way to go.
You got 18 goals?
I did, yeah. It should have been a lot more as well.
I reckon, Esme, with the support of all the viewers, you can do this.
Yeah. Got a chip on my shoulder now.
Hopefully Gaz is watching, yeah.
I want all of you to text in to the WhatsApp number and let us know whose team you're on. Whether you're on Team Nedum or you're on Team Esme. And I'll tell you, I am not on Team Nedum. Okay. What about Nedum? What's your favourite goal that you scored in your career?
Probably my first one here. It was against Spurs. It was a few years into my career, and I think it was the goal to put us ahead. And I'd waited like 2 years to score it, and I didn't know how to celebrate, so just ran to the corner blowing kisses. Up here, interestingly, this is the exact angle, so yeah, that one was very nice, yeah. What was yours?
Well, I scored at the Etihad actually in the City tournament a long time ago. We can get some footage of that. David, you've played up front at the Etihad
yeah.
Before. How did that go for you against Middlesbrough?
I won every header. I mean, it was. I won some important headers.
Yeah, you were there. You were definitely
You caused a lot of problems. We had a penalty.
I kicked every Middlesbrough player except for Mark Schwarzer, I think. We did get a penalty, yeah. I mean,
and Robbie missed it, yeah.
I think Robbie was ill that day. I think he was ill.
Right, so when
it goes wrong, there was illness.
Let's go back to the game. We're so close to kick-off now. Let me get some predictions from you guys. Obviously, we've seen the West Ham team. They're missing the main man Rice and a couple of others. Nedum, how do you see the first half panning out? And to let you all know, we're on 997 goals under Pep Guardiola.
That's wild.
We need at least 3 then.
Are we getting to 1,000 tonight?
Good.
I think so. And this footage is why. This is it. This is 998. This is 999. And then for the 1,000th, you go over the top. Erling, you slot it in, hat-trick, 3-0, boom. Simple.
You make it sound simple, but I have not got a clue, Esme. I mean, I have no idea what he could be saying here. But it works.
Yeah, it works. I love Pep. He's so animated and passionate about everything around football. I believe we'll get to 1,000 today.
Okay. What are your score predictions, Nedum? What's your score prediction?
I'm going to go 3-1. I'm going to go 3-1, yeah.
And Esme, what about you?
4-0. I'm backing Ortega to keep a clean sheet.
Okay, I like that. And Mr. David James.
Do you know, when I was coming onto this show, I was thinking to myself, look, I think City win the game. I've got my allegiance to West Ham, and I was thinking maybe 1-0 with a really gritty performance. But Declan Rice is out, half the team's ill, nearly 1,000th goal. I think Pep might have been describing the 5th.
You know, interestingly as well, like reading between the lines, it's no surprise that Pep's talking to Rodri and John Stones. You know what I mean? So whereas in recent times John's not really drifting to the midfield as much, say like against Arsenal, maybe there's an indication that today that's exactly what he'll be going for.
It is time nearly for kick-off, so it's time for us to hand over to Alistair Mann. Remember, you can hear the exclusive live commentary on the City Plus, and remember to keep donating throughout, because City are matching all donations for City in the community. Enjoy the first half, and we will be back for the second half.
Welcome to the Etihad Stadium